But speaking of wins, man, we got 2 big wins from the Pens this weekend, man. I'm gonna be full transparent. I watched the Friday game live. I watched that one. I was money.
I'm not the only one that's having problems watching these games.
Listen. I watched the first game. Overtime, shootout, Jake Gunsel. I mean, he was doing his thing. I watched that. I enjoyed the Friday one. I'm going to be full transparent. I watched the heck out the Friday game. I even skipped movie time with the family to watch the game. Just to let you know how I prioritize these things, because typically on weekends, it's movie time for me and the fam. Like, no debates, no discussion. But obviously with the hockey schedule, it's a little bit more of the Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays. So it's like, all right, we'll be a little flexible here. Watch the game Friday. I'm not going to lie to you. That game last night, I pulled you. I gave you highlights, a couple Reddit condensed versions, but I was like, I'm not even about to sit up here and fake like I watched Sunday, because we know what Sunday was. Who schedules a hockey game or any other game doing NFC, AFC championship games? Like,
they could have done 1 o'clock.
Like seriously, like that's like, I'm like, yo, why would you do this? Like, you did this on purpose. You want the ratings to be low. So I'm going to give you low ratings. That's what I'm going to give you, because you want that. So shout out to the schedule makers, because they wanted the low ratings on Sunday, which they got, because we know where our focus is going to be. But from what I saw Friday, and then obviously the second game from the clips that I watched, man, it's 2 things that I'm picking up with this team. Number one, they are gritty as heck. They have been trailing pretty much like 75 to 80% of every game they've been in. They don't tie the game or take the lead until the third period or overtime in some of these scenarios. And shoot, Sunday was their first regulation win of the season. Like, it's crazy when you're looking at this team. You're like, you see a team that is flawed, especially when we talk about some of the defensive stuff. But then you see how they're super talented at times. And it's kind of like, all right, they're not really in rhythm, but they're getting in rhythm. And it just looks like it's very similar. I hate to keep doing the parallels, but it reminds me a lot of when we would watch the Steelers this year, and how we would talk about how initially they would start out super slow, right? First half was slow. Then we would say, what? Second half, man, you get the hurry up offense. Ben starts doing what he does. Offense looks a lot better. The team looks a lot better. When I watch the Pens, I swear, I feel like I'm watching the same thing. Down 1-0, down 3-0, down 3-1. You're like, God, dog, man, we only, the game just started. Like, what are y'all doing here? But somehow, some way, they get hot. And it's not even like the usual suspects. I can see if it's like Sid every time or Malkin every time. It's like, no. All right, you get a goal this time. Oh, you get a goal. Oh, 3-on-1, shorthanded. Okay, cool. Don't worry about it. Goalie get to stop. You get like, we're seeing all this type of just craziness happen, and they're just finding ways to win. And to me, the reason I like that, the reason I'm excited, is because if you can start doing that now when everything is going wrong and you're finding ways to win tough games, imagine when it starts to click. Imagine when everybody gets on the same page, when you start to get that continuity built up, because like we talked about before, they haven't had a lot of time together. Yeah. Not even a lot of off-season time. So they're still getting used to each other, man, in terms of the additions from the late end of last season. So when I'm seeing this, I'm like, all right, okay, let's go Pens. Yes, indeed, man.
I was 100% in the same boat with you. I actually just watched the highlights for, was it, you said Friday was the first one, right?
Yep. Friday they won 4-3 in the shootout, and then they won 3-2 on Sunday in regulation.
Okay, actually Friday, I was out to eat, and they had the game on the TV ways away, and I couldn't really tell who was in. Pens were, I think it was 1-1. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, 1 second later, I look up, it's 3-1. Yes. I'm like, what the hell happened? Yes. Went over to my buddy's place after. We couldn't watch the rest of the second and third period. He didn't get the channel, so we just watched hoops. And then all of a sudden, about an hour later, my one buddy gets an update, and he said, bro, the Pens won 4-3. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then he says, I think actually DeSmith started, and they pulled him for Jari because Jari finished it out. Jari played the whole game. I thought they pulled him whenever they scored 3-1 because it looked like he went to the bench. But yeah, he ended up playing the whole game. The Pens came back 4-3. And then the same thing for the Sunday game. I didn't watch, obviously, because, I was watching football. I get back, I'm watching the highlights from this game, and same thing. Yeah, we're down 2-1. All of a sudden, Pens score on a crazy goal that it's like a no-look. The goalie has no idea. It was a hell of a shot.
It's nuts, man.
And then it's 2-2. It's third period. I'm like, okay, is this really going to overtime again? Right. And then we score with like a minute left.
And I'm not going to lie, I get hyped every time it goes to overtime. I'm like a kid in a candy store. Like, I told you, I love regulation hockey. But it's something about when it gets to overtime, them taking it down, stripping it down even less. We talked about that last podcast and just how much faster the action happens. It's already a fast-paced game.
And you got to think that's always in our favor.
Yeah. Oh, no, because we're a fast team and we are talented. That's the thing. Like, we're fast, so we can play that game, but we also have the skill players. When you talk about Sid, when you talk about Moken, where it's just like, those guys are going to be matchup problems. So you already have that element. But it's like, man, they just keep finding it. And then you get to the shootout, and I really go crazy to the shootout because I told you the nostalgia of it. I love the Mighty Ducks, so I kind of get that vibe. But you see these guys really have to put on a full display, and it's not just the guys scoring goals, because typically in regulation, we can hype over the guys scoring goals. We don't really talk goalies until they do something bad. But in a shootout, everyone is highlighted. We can that goal that you score doesn't matter if we don't get this stop right here. And to see once again right here, both of the goalies, right? We talked about Casey DeSmith in the previous games doing well in the shootouts. This time we got to see Jari do well in the shootouts. And for Jari, I was really impressed because we talked about how early in the season,
I thought he's played good these last two games.
And he has, but he's drastically improved because we talked about the first two games, right? Slow start by him. Matter of fact, here it is. He allowed 3 goals on 6 shots versus the Flyers. That was the game he ended up getting pulled. But prior to that, excuse me, he had allowed 9 goals on 33 shots, which is crazy compared to just Friday. The Friday game that I watched, he had 31 saves that game, right? So you can just see how he definitely started to get a lot better and played a lot more comfortable in this Rangers series.
I thought 2 of those goals on Friday were just terrible defense.
Yes.
I think the one was a turnover right in front of him, and then the other one, they're, 2 of our Pens defenders are hitting against each other. It was almost like whenever Michael Vick had that long run against
each other,
and the Vikings players hitting to each other. That's what it looked like.
But that's when we said they're flawed. Like, that's been the biggest part this year. I feel like they've been able to score goals. They've been even able to score shorthanded goals, right? We've seen that happen now. But defensively, they still got to get that cleaned up. It's earlier. And that's the thing, right? We're talking about these things, and it's like they're still finding ways to overcome that. That'll catch up. That'll get right. But to me, man, I was excited about it, man. I thought they looked, like I said, especially in that third period overtime, they were very impressive. And then also we got to shout out to Jake Nussel too, man. He scored his 100th goal on Sunday, which was actually the game-winning goal as well, to help them sweep the Rangers and move them to 4-2 on the season. So, man, very impressive so far. Good start thus far. So we'll see if they can keep that thing rolling, right?
Let's go, Pens.
Another episode brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook and app. Deke. Not only is it safe, baby, but it's secure and reliable. And for all the first-time users out there, if they use the promo code MOATS, they'll receive up to $1,000 in deposit bonus money. That's a lot of deposit bonus money. You know that, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a fair amount.
That's a good amount of money. Good amount of money. So, with that being said, download the app, use the promo code, and you can get an opportunity. Because that's all you want, is an opportunity to make that money, baby. That's it. Download the app, use the promo code, get the opportunity, baby.